Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Football League podcast. I'm Fred, and as we draw closer to the end of the transfer window, we've had quite an eventful past couple of days. And as usual, I'm joined by Chris today, who is going to be giving the details on some of the deals that have just been completed and what you can expect to come for the last couple of days of the window. Chris?
Yeah, hi guys. So it's going to be a very brief one today. It's been a bit of a mad 48 hours, I have to say. You probably agree with me, Fred. So just going to talk about obviously what's on everyone's lips, Ronaldo, and a couple of other things related to Man United, and then something like Mbappe and those sort of things.
Yeah.
So going to be very short, but it'll be interesting nevertheless.
Yeah. You mentioned Ronaldo. I mean, Ronaldo has been the talk of the week. On Thursday night, it seemed like he was going to the other side of Manchester, Manchester City, and Manchester United fans were going crazy. I mean, there was even a video of a guy burning his Ronaldo shirt. I'm sure he's going to regret that now. But yeah, Thursday night, it seemed
So
like he was going to Man City, and now he's a
yeah,
Man United player. Okay, can you give us the details around that whole situation?
yeah. So there was a lot of news around Ronaldo going to Manchester City and Mendes speaking and doing some negotiations with Manchester City, which is partly true. But Cristiano Ronaldo always wanted to rejoin Manchester United. There's a lot of issues at Juventus, one being that Allegri told him he would need more responsibilities and they would rely on him less. And they would want to focus more on some of the younger players. So Ronaldo was, more the interest of saying, right, okay, well, I don't think this is a situation that I want to be in anymore. Juventus also sort of amicably said, well, we can't really afford you for the next season or so anyway, so it's best if we part ways. So Ronaldo, obviously, in the last week, I would say, actually, funnily enough, you won't get to see this, but Manchester United were always interested in Ronaldo anyway, even though he's 36 years old, he can still do the business. So when he asked to leave Juventus, he already knew that Manchester United were trying to sign him anyway. And that was the kind of the end goal for Ronaldo anyway, is that quite often and not, agents will put their name out there. Manchester City will come out and say they weren't interested, but they were. And they were interested in doing a deal with Juventus. So whatever they're putting out is nonsense. It's just because they got rejected, and that's just the way it is. And Ronaldo always wanted to go back to Manchester United, and Man United, the Glazers saw an opportunity there. And I mean, they've made loads of money on the stock market already. So, and you can imagine the kit sales. So there's an
Yeah,
opportunity really where the Glazers would um, they saw it from a marketing perspective that they, let's bring Ronaldo back. This is going to appease the fans. Glazers have come under fire since the Super League, so they were happy to do that, of course, because this is going to make them money anyway. So they're because Ronaldo is a brand, so having that attached to the club is going to help them massively. So it works for them. It also works for Solskjaer because you saw that news come out about Cavani being away for a few games, and that narrative is interesting that was released just as Ronaldo was about to sign for Manchester United, because the contacts were earlier than what's been said. So all I would say about Ronaldo is now Manchester United should have no excuses to go and challenge for the title. They have enough players for it. But we'll touch on the midfield situation in a minute. But just to finish off, Alex Ferguson was massively pivotal in getting Ronaldo back at Old Trafford. And so was Rio Ferdinand. Not as much as this has been said, but Rio Ferdinand's been massively involved in that as well. And he knew quite early on, and so had the old teammates. So Ronaldo's, I never thought he was going to Manchester City, and I did put the tweet out saying there was a hidden agenda, which there always was, and I think Ronaldo was just waiting for Man United to get back on the table. But it suggests people are suggesting it was done very quickly, and I think there was always dialogue between Manchester United, Bruno, Ronaldo. There was something else going on there, and I think some of that will come out. But now Ronaldo is going to be a Manchester United player again, and yes, he's 36 years old. But he was still out, one of the top goal scorers in the Serie A, and he was outscoring Lukaku, who was in an arguably a better team at the time. So Ronaldo is still going to score you 25 to 30 goals a season, which is what Manchester United need anyway. And I'd start, if I'm on the other team now, I'd be looking at that team and saying, my God, is this what I've got to face week in, week out? Because they've got to a very good team. But we'll talk about the midfield situation. But that's where Ronaldo was. Glazers saw an opportunity. Ollie said he wanted Ronaldo back. So there was a perfect scenario for them, really. And people can talk about the age, the wages you want. Ronaldo's going to pay that back in a year. He's going to pay that back in kit sales. I mean, the stock's already risen over 200 million. So, it's the perfect deal for them on that one.
Yeah,
So that's where we are.
100%. Ronaldo is arguably
Mentally.
the best player the world has ever seen, alongside Lionel Messi. And Ronaldo came as a surprise to many Manchester United fans because everyone expected them to be going for a midfielder such as Camavinga or Neves. Can you give us the situation around those players? Could Manchester United still sign a midfielder in the 4 days remaining in the transfer?
Look, you know me, I will always give you the honest truth, or I will give you the sort of temper the expectations of the fans. I'm never going to tell you that it's 100% guaranteed because you can't in the transfer business. Now, when it comes to Manchester United, and I'll just talk about the right back situation quickly because it affects the kind of the midfield. So the lot is staying at the club, which is why I suspected he would do anyway. That's why I didn't speak about it too much because I didn't think the Trippier deal would go through, which it won't now. It's collapsed. It's done. It wasn't even close. And a lot of people said it was close the last couple of months. It never has been. The fee's been too expensive. So the right back situation is going to be, maybe resolved in January or next summer. So that now leaves the way to look at the midfield. The problem Manchester United have got at the moment is there's that Camavinga, I think, is waiting for, Real Madrid to sort out the deal with Mbappe. If that still goes through, we'll talk about that. So I don't think he has got many chances anymore coming into United. It might change last minute, but it's, if we're not seeing anything by Monday, I'd say that deal's gone and dusted. So I wouldn't be looking too much into the Camavinga deal. When it comes to Saul, I think that Manchester United would like to get him, but under a loan and then an option to buy. So let's just wait and see on that one because that's not going to cost them a lot of money. Saul might stay at Atletico Madrid still. So, and then there's Neves, which have been spoken about, but his fee is 40 million. And I just think with the way they've done the Ronaldo deal, it's going to be a difficult one to go ahead and try and pay 40 to 45 million for Neves. So all I would say is there's still chances, but I'm not expecting it, Fred, from Manchester United because of the way they did the Ronaldo deal. I feel like that's the last bit of the business. But what I will say is that Man United do have in the habit where they will go and suddenly do something out of the blue, and they did this in their deadline day. So if Saul's still available, Manchester United might look at him. I think he would be the most likeliest of ones. And I think Neves is slightly media driven. Although he would fit Manchester United, I just think that maybe they're looking at a situation where next season they would look at Declan Rice or another midfielder, which they would probably rate a little bit higher in the list, rather than go and spend 40 million now. So they could do it if they feel the need to do it, and it might depend after, Sunday's game, where they might go and do a desperation deal because they haven't done that this summer so far. So they might do something, but it would have to be quite a cheap deal. It's not going to be an expensive one. So I would temper your expectations to kind of expect it. But what I will say to the fans is knowing Manchester United and how they work, is that potentially something might happen before deadline day. But I can't say too much about it yet because I can't verify it. But we'll see as we go. But please do temper your expectations because I'm not expecting any more signings for Manchester United, which I know is not a positive scenario. But as I said, if Saul comes available, then they will look at that one. And they are still talking to Atletico Madrid. So there are still chances for Saul. But Neves, to me, hasn't really advanced, Fred. And it would by now, if they were convinced he would be the right one for them, which the fans are. But sometimes, they're not always right, are they? So
yeah,
and it's always either media driven or those sort of things. So just keep an eye on it. But as I said, it can change hour by hour. But Saul looks like the most likely to move, either if it's United or Chelsea. But it just depends on how they can get that deal done on the right opportunity, which I would say, just to finish off, a loan and then an option to buy, because they might want to look at Declan Rice next summer.
Yeah, well, if United were to I don't know, magically go in for someone like Neves and the last day of the window, would sales need to warrant that, such as Jesse Lingard? We know West Ham are very interested in him. And I think Manchester United are sort of pricing him out of the move. What's the status on that deal? And could a deal for
Yeah,
Lingard potentially see someone like
yeah,
Ruben Neves come in?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so outgoings have been incredibly slow from Manchester United, and the outgoings they have done haven't really been able to give Manchester United sort of the. They do have the money. They can't lie about having the money because they've just gone and spent ridiculous amount of money on Ronaldo's wages plus his fee, and that's going to work out about 70 million altogether eventually. So they know what they're doing. They've got money to do it. So it's nothing to do with the funding. The issue they've got is obviously the squad size is quite big as well. So if Jesse Lingard went, then absolutely Neves would come back onto the table. But Camavinga was able to come because one, he's under 21, so it doesn't affect the squad size, and this fee would have been about the same place, a little bit less than Neves. So just still keep an eye out on those things. But the outgoings would depend on the ones with a little bit higher ages. So Jesse Lingard, I think he will still move to West Ham. I think West Ham are still missing that. I don't know what their result was today, but I still think West Ham are missing just a type of Jesse Lingard to get them those kind of winners. And I think Jesse Lingard wants to move because of the World Cup next season, and he had the opportunity. He was close to getting into the England squad, and it's something that's probably still a burning desire for him. So Manchester United will, I think, they'll end up dropping the price to 20 million, and the deal will be done. Because you've got to look at it now, Fred. They've got Ronaldo in as well, so they've got too much attacking options. Where's Jesse Lingard going to fit into the squad? And if I'm
Yeah,
Jesse Lingard, why would I want to sit on the bench when last season I was just what I did for West Ham, I can go and do for them again. So there are massive chances again, and even Leicester City might even come back into him. We don't know, so we'll know about that. But Jesse Lingard and Dan James may be the ones to look out for, and then hopefully they can ship out Phil Jones, but it doesn't really look likely. It seems like he's going to retire
yeah,
at the club because,
yeah,
as I said before, he needs to, there needs to be an opportunity of where the clubs gives him away for either free on wages, they pay his wages and he goes out on loan. So it's going to be an interesting end. I think there'll be more sort of outgoing rumours as opposed to incoming for United. But as I said,
yeah,
nothing can be ruled out at this stage. And I haven't had any dialogue to say Manchester United's business is done. Usually, and it's similar sort of just to finish off on that, usually when last year, when Sancho's deal collapsed, I was told straight away 6 weeks before. But then there was back and forth. But in the end, it was decided they wouldn't go for him. So usually I'll get something to say, no, business is done now. But I haven't had anything yet. So just be mindful that's still a hope, but it has to be the right opportunity. But yeah, Jesse Lingard is likely to leave as long as West Ham pay the price. And that's where we are with it.
yeah. Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting couple of days for Manchester United. The discussion goes on. Make sure to click the link in the description to join our Discord server. There are a lot of Manchester United fans in there, as well as other fans. So join that. You can chat with them about football news, transfer news, etc. You can also follow us on Instagram and on Twitter for more transfer news from Chris himself and, yeah, just general football talk. But moving on, another player who has been, kind of overshadowed by Ronaldo in the past couple of days, but certainly a
Yeah.
very big topic, Kylian
Oh, yeah.
Mbappe,
Yeah.
Real Madrid. I mean, making some
That's
very
what,
big bids for him. What's the current situation on Mbappe?
so let me just explain first and foremost. This is that Mbappe just wants to leave Paris Saint-Germain. He's not interested in playing with Messi and Neymar. He wants to be his own player, which I get that at his age, So that's fine and that's understandable. What I don't get is why Real Madrid are not just waiting until next summer. So they're eager to pay for something now. But also what I don't get is why are Paris being so stubborn? They're getting around 180 million euros for a player that's got 1 year left on his contract. Now I know it's Mbappe, but that's around 150 million pounds, Fred. So at the moment, though, what Paris are saying and what I've heard is they want 200 million euros for Kylian Mbappe. And I think they'll probably get it, which is absolutely mental for someone who's got a year left on his contract. But I think there's some sort of agreement now. Something else is going on where they might have already agreed on the deal, but Paris are waiting to get a replacement in, whoever that's going to be. There's not a lot of options, but they are looking. But I think that deal should go through, but it's going to go either way, Fred, 50-50. But Paris they just need to accept the money. And I think Real Madrid are just going to sit there and say, well, we don't want to pay £200 million, so we'll just wait till next summer. And then PSG are going to come back and say, okay, we'll accept 180 million. So, people talk about Paris not needing the money. Yes, that's correct. But how do you look to the fans if you don't accept 180 million and you let them go free next summer? What does that, that gives you a bad impression to the fans. So PSG have got to be doing something, and I expect something to break by Sunday with this. I don't see anything breaking by Monday or Tuesday. That's just going to be crazy. But I think Mbappe should be joining Real Madrid. Something will happen there for that deal to be agreed. And if it doesn't, then PSG have shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Because they're going to look disgraceful to the fans, and also they need to get a replacement in. So, and I think that's why Camavinga hasn't made his decision yet as well, because they might end up signing a cheaper attacker and him. So we might see something like that. But as I said, they need to accept that deal. And from what I know is Real Madrid are confident that it will happen. And if it doesn't happen, they'll just wait till next summer. And then they've got the opportunity. We'll talk about Haaland in a little bit. Then they've got the opportunity for Haaland as well next summer, which is increasingly likely because of. I'll explain that shortly. But I think something will happen on that, Fred. You'd probably agree on that. But from the dialogue that I've had, people close around Paris, they've said that we're expecting Paris to accept the deal at some point. They'll be shocked if it doesn't go through.
Yeah, well, Perez must be sitting very comfortably at the moment, because it looks like even if he doesn't move to Madrid this summer, next summer it's going to happen for free. So moving on.
Interesting enough, just to sorry to interrupt, but Real Madrid are going to build some. They're going to do the Galacticos next season again. They're going to. It's already beginning to look that way for next season.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure Paul Pogba and Erling Haaland could be part of that Galactico team. Can you give us the latest updates on both those players to end it off?
Yeah. So first and foremost, Pogba is going to stay at Manchester United this summer. So there was never any advanced negotiations with Paris, and I sat there for the last couple of weeks, or even before, telling everyone that he's not going to leave. I did it in my own way, but that I'm not leaving Leonardo DiCaprio for Wall Street. But people didn't work it out. But as I said, that was always the case. I never seen him leaving, and I never believed in any of these negotiations with PSG. Some bullshit reporting went out, and those sort of stuff, nonsense as we go. So he'll stay at Manchester United, and there's massive chances now for him to sign a new contract. I mean, Manchester United are almost like a Galactico team anyway. So, look at they've got in their possession now: Pogba, Bruno, Ronaldo, Sancho, Greenwood, Rashford. There's a bunch of talents. I would say Martial, but I don't think he's going to have a good season. That's just my opinion. And they've got Varane, Maguire. You've got De Gea, Henderson. You've got loads of good players in there now that would say, okay, well, yeah, it looks like I'm going to stay. And they can afford his wages, Fred, which we can see because they've gone and paid $460,000 a week to Ronaldo. So I think Pogba's going to end up signing a new contract. It's my opinion at the moment. Now, that might change, but I'm not hearing anything else to say that something else will change, and I don't think it will. The only thing I would say is that now let's talk about Haaland. Just move on from that, because that kind of ties into it a little bit. But I think Manchester United would still remain high up on the list to get Haaland next season. But the issue they've got now is they've gone and bought Ronaldo. So how do you fit Haaland in the team? Because you've got Sancho, Greenwood, Rashford. But something's got to give, right? So they might have shot themselves in the foot on that slightly. And I think Haaland, maybe Real Madrid are now become the favourites. But we'll know more about it. But I'm just speculating right now because, when we get nearer to the time, I will know if it's Real Madrid or Manchester United. So, but my personal opinion is if Kylian Mbappe goes free next summer, they'll go and spend the money on Haaland, and that's the wise decision for them to do. So I don't know why they're doing what they're doing now. So um, I think that looks likely for, and we don't know what's going to happen with Benzema. And obviously, he's declining, and Hazard hasn't really set the world alight at Real Madrid with his injuries and his work ethic. So I think we could see a Haaland and Mbappe at Real Madrid next summer, which is mental. I
Yeah,
thought this summer's been crazy. I'm not expecting too much sleep next summer, if I'm quite honest.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that looks likely. But Manchester United still have chances, and they were favourites before they got Ronaldo. But I'd still put them high up on the list. It's just I'd wonder how they would fit him in the team, because you want to nurture Greenwood, which seems to be the process for getting Ronaldo in is going to help Greenwood, Rashford, and Sancho anyway. So that seems the process for, as opposed to going for Haaland. Do you see what I mean? So I think they might go that way
yeah,
on that one.
yeah. I think that's the logical way to go about it as well. But it looks like Real Madrid are building another Galactical
Yeah.
team, as you said. I mean, imagine Kylian
I,
Mbappe and Erling Haaland for the
I guess
next.
it's a dream. It's a dream
Yeah,
come true. I mean, it's the new faces because Madrid,
yeah,
have lost the likes of Varane. They've lost, Messi's gone from Barcelona. La Liga don't have faces anymore. Okay, they have Griezmann, but he's been there for years. You know, but Mbappe and Haaland going back into the La Liga with all the new deal stuff going on is the new faces, the new era. You've got them, but if they both go to Real Madrid, that's just going to be scary. And if
yeah,
they end up getting Pogba as well, so I dread to be playing against them. I don't think I think Pogba stays at Man United, but we'll see because Zidane's no longer at Madrid, and I don't think there's a burning desire for Pogba to go there anymore.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that brings us to the end of the podcast. There's going to be a lot more transfer news over the next coming days. I'm sure, Chris, you'd agree. You can join
Don't
us
sleep.
on Discord. Chris does some live shows there. I know he's going to be doing one on deadline day as well. So make sure to join the Discord. Make sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. There's some good content coming up, like a Champions League draw reaction, etc. Going to be coming up on the channel soon. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Yeah, no worries, guys. Thank you for today. I know it's been short, but thank you.